Good morning. It is Tuesday, about 8:15 in the morning, a little earlier than normal. Got some weather to talk about in terms of this cutoff low, which is going to cause forecasters fits this next few days. And you're going to hear all sorts of different forecasts because basically it's a feature of the atmosphere, a low, we know, but usually they're attached to the jet stream and they flow. It's like being in a river and being in the current, and they flow in that direction. This is like being in a river and then getting stuck behind a rock, and then this thing just kind of floats around while the river goes by. And that's what we've got. This is the cutoff low kind of down in here, and you can see it's got a lot of subtropical moisture wrapped up in it as well. So that brings the potential for thunderstorms and certainly showers as well, but more concerning would be obviously September thunderstorms. Today, first full day of fall. We've got temperatures that are going to go 100 degrees in Redding. That's the top end. That's probably the warmest spot in the state. If we get 100, it'll be close. Sacramento, 98 degrees today. San Francisco, 83. As a matter of fact, San Francisco has a heat advisory, or parts of the peninsula have a heat advisory, which I thought was sort of interesting. We'll look at that as well. So as we peek at this moisture, you can see there's very little smoke from the fires. With, the Garnett fire, which is huge. There's a little smoke. We'll see that early in a little bit. And we'll track this. We'll go right to it, so you don't have to sit through all the nature snacks and such. And then after that, we'll hit the nature snacks pretty hard. But you got this system to contend with now. So let's push forward. We'll look at the GFS, go right to it. Here it is. Here's that system, right? And you can see the jet stream kind of up in here, right? And then this low is just living by itself down here. In this low, this is the model. This is going to take it out a number of days. GFS, not super granular, but this is upper atmosphere. So this is the main flow of the river. It'd be like if you're standing on Earth and you look up and you're looking at the bottom of a river. That's what the jet stream is. And it's not horribly wide either. In this case, we look up and we don't see much because the jet stream's to the north. If we look up and we're in San Luis Obispo, we see this little eddy. And it's this little low sitting up there, and that's what we're looking at. And so as we track it, you can see it sort of retrogrades a little bit. This is this afternoon. So in there, what we know is we're not checking fuel, we're checking for energy. Right, this is the vorticity. So this is the shear, this is the packet that is the motor that can make moisture produce some rain, can enhance it. So this is the motor, and the motor has, some energy. You can see the purples and the reds. That represents lift and instability. So if moisture gets entrained in there, which it is, there's a chance for thunderstorms and showers. So this is Wednesday morning, a much better chance, and then you see it kind of like Wednesday afternoon. So it's sort of a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, and it kicks in. It's hard to see, but it looks like it kicks in just south of San Francisco Bay Area, which would be, again, around Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. And then it boots, and watch what it does. It comes back around. It kind of does a lob and then drops into Southern California. So you can see why it gives us fits. Will this happen? Not exactly, but the cutoff low is the cutoff low. Its first move, I'm going to back it up, is to do this today, tomorrow. That's its first move right there. And then it drifts inland. This is on Thursday. And that would be significant thunderstorms for the Tehachapi's, for up around Bakersfield. And then it backs out again. I know. And then it kind of opens up into the plains. And then this guy comes in here, which is interesting. So, yeah, kind of interesting week ahead. Okay, so that's the lowest. That's really the weather forecast. So if you're a farmer, you're a grape grower, I'm not sure what crops you're worried about right now. Strawberries, maybe? It used to be the raisins, because they used to put the raisins out in the summer. You didn't want rain, right? You get molds. But either way, this is HRRR, and this shows the low come in. Remember, this is short range, 24-hour rapid update. So every hour you get a new update on it. This is showing us this afternoon. Right here, and then you see that system clearly this afternoon. So, up by Lompoc, maybe you'll see some thunderstorms, but then it comes further north. So this is, as far as this model goes, this is Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. So there it is. It's intact. Now we can take it out a little further with this next model, which is the North American model. Not granular, so it'll be more broad brush. There it is. Puts it in about the same place, about the same time. And then this one kicks it inland Wednesday morning, and you see the proximity to the Bay Area. So CAL FIRE is watching this closely, and then, man, that's going to be interesting. Wednesday, mid-morning, Tuesday night, let's see. So let's go back. So this is NAM, North American, Wednesday morning. I'm looking at the Bay Area. And then into Wednesday afternoon. And then it still goes Wednesday evening. Yeah, see, I'm shaking my head, man. Right? What do you know? We're along for the ride on this because we've looked at two models, and they're both. It's a cutoff low, so we know the models don't handle them well. We know this is squirrely, right? And the timing is similar. This blob of subtropical moisture is going to be off the west coast. It's there now, but it becomes dynamic on Wednesday night and into, Tuesday night into Wednesday afternoon. And then still sort of does that. It does lob around and come back. Okay, let's keep going with the models. And then this is rainfall accumulation. So we're going to go here, there. That's the accumulation through Thursday morning, about a quarter of an inch to half an inch down by Point Conception. But you see the rain line, right? It's just going to accumulate. This is Friday morning. So you kind of see that's the swath that this model, the GFS, takes it on. And then you'll see that, remember that next thing that comes down from the north? Watch that right there. Isn't that interesting? So that's that system. That's on track too. And that's an extratropical system. So there is rain in the forecast. You're going to hear a little bit of everything. And now you know why. So first thing I would recommend is if you're interested in following this, go to the HRRR on my links page, the COD, College You to Pay website. Go to the HRRR model. It updates every hour. So if you're a farmer or have interest in the outdoors, you're painting, you're doing concrete, something like that, be a good thing to do. And then you can update it, and it updates every hour. Is it always right on cutoff lows? No. But is it going to get you close if you go 6 hours, 12 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours? That's what I would do. This is Fresno. They got a little smoke out there right now. This is just this. The Garnet Fire is still producing a little bit of smoke in this area, and you'll see it off in the distance. That smoke the air quality is pretty good. The Garnet Fire is almost 100% contained. Now that was a huge, huge fire. And there's that smoke. So that's the inversion in the morning, and down in Fresno County, you're looking out towards Fresno, and you see the smoke and sort of the air quality. And a lot of this could just be stuff, right? Just stuff from it gets in the atmosphere. Dust from the cattle, dust from the tractors, and then some smoke. So that's Fresno County. Today, Fresno goes 97 degrees. Here we are up in Napa Valley. Make sure I'm right. Yeah, Sonoma Mountain. And we'll look at this. We're kind of do a little tour. And not much smoke. So you're going to hear a lot about this cutoff low, right? And so we know, you know. So when the guy on TV gets on and goes, this is what's going to happen. This is what might happen. This is what might happen. This is not, there's no certainty. And by the way, being in television weather for 1,000 years, we're all looking at the same thing. So if somebody says something that's way different, they're just guessing. They're making it up because the data is the data, right? And then local knowledge, which that's my skill. Is I just been around a long time. I've been to all these places. I've been to Lake Tahoe a million times, so I kind of know the topography and the lay of the land. This is Dollar Point, looking across towards South Lake Tahoe. But in other words, I want to say this delicately. The stuff I'm showing you is the secret sauce. There's no other secret sauce we're missing out on. Live pictures, HRRR, live radar, live satellite, kind of, knowing where you live. That's the secret sauce. And you have it. We have it. You don't have to listen to anybody else. And it's funny, even the National Weather Service, God love them. They're awesome. They do an awesome job. And I rely on them heavily for a lot of stuff. But oftentimes, there are people who, not people, they're all meteorologists, which is awesome, which is really important. But there are people who haven't lived here very long, haven't been in the area very long, right? So, and sometimes it makes them better because they don't have a local bias or anything. But I'm just saying that you lived in your house, you've lived in your neighborhood, You know how to access the main models. You know how to read temperature chart, right? So you can do it. You can do it. Or I can do it for you, which is fine. I enjoy it. This is what I do anyway. This is what I literally do every morning. Now, I don't curate as much, but this is what I do. Okay, this is Dollar Point. Lake Tahoe today is going to go 80 degrees or 78 degrees, pardon me, North Lake Tahoe. This live camera is down towards Santa Monica. Out here, so it's 270. So we're looking a little north. So again, we're looking out towards Malibu, Beverly Hills, Burbank out here. Southern California got a beautiful day today. Good air quality. Los Angeles today, you go 84 degrees. Here is the Bay Area. This is our Mount Tam cam that we often use to show the fog depth, but today it's pointing towards, well, now here it is pointing towards the coast. They're going to switch it here. That's the coast. No fog this morning. Then they point, now we're watching the sunrise over Mount Diablo, which is in the East Bay. Of course, obviously, sun's coming up in the east. Concord today is going to go 97 degrees. That's pretty warm. A really warm day. And the air quality looks pretty good. Inversion, nothing but shallow. Nothing but shallow. So the inversions, it's basically, the inversion is basically the sea surface temperature. So it's really shallow. The inversion is like 100 feet deep, and it's not very sturdy at all. So today is going to be a warm day, and that's why you have a heat advisory for parts of the Bay Area. That surprised me when I woke up this morning. I was like, wow, heat advisory. Not because I didn't know it was going to be warm, but there's a trigger that the National Weather Service guys have established, and it's hit that trigger, that trigger temperature. So you see down here these orange areas, San Francisco, Fremont, San Jose, so urban areas that aren't used to, or typically, even San Francisco. San Francisco is going to be in the 80s today. What I got, San Francisco at 83 degrees. That urban area, that's hot for San Francisco. So these are the forecast highs. Okay, we did it. So again, those cutoff lows. Yeah. And again, we're going to go through this whole winter together, I hope. And you can, you can let me do it, which is fine because I'm going to do it anyway. But I want you to grab things along the way, which I think you're doing. But I also want you to take ownership of this stuff because, again, I made a career, a life out of telling you the weather. I just knew the secret sauce. I just knew how to find these maps. I mean, I'm a meteorologist. I took all the physics. You don't really, it doesn't hurt to have all that. But to do the basic stuff you need to do to get out and go fishing, to get out and go driving or golfing or whatever the hell you're going to do, and to not be subject to someone else's bad forecast. Make it your own bad forecast, right? Okay, these highs today, it's going to be about, I'm doing this. I'm going to say this is as hot as it gets for the rest of the year. Today it's going to be the warmest day, the last the hot day of 2025. It'll still be warm, but I think the 100s in the valley are pretty much done. That has to do with sun angle. Again, we're rapidly heading towards the winter solstice now. Days are getting shorter rapidly. Here's the cool down tomorrow. Redding goes from 100 to 96. Sacramento goes from 95 to 85. San Francisco goes from 82 to 72. So tomorrow temperatures drop a good 5-10 degrees. And that has a lot to do with that weather system. Here it is. See if you can find it right there. There it is. Right. It's still picking up moisture. And you see it kind of blossoms when it gets further north. That's because it's bumping into some land. Blossoms meaning it gets whiter, just showing more light on higher cloud tops, I guess you could assume. So there's the rotation here. And then everybody else, there's some rain concerns out here in the Ohio, Mississippi Valley. And we'll see some flood watches and warnings in Oklahoma and out towards Nebraska and Kansas, Nebraska, and Illinois, and Ohio, Iowa. So I love that fact. That just right. I remember the first time I saw, we didn't have these. These things were, this is when this is after Sputnik. You had to get something up in space before you saw satellite images. So we didn't, when I was at Berkeley in 1978, they weren't some of the first DIFAX satellite maps, but we had them. And we'd sit there and wait. They'd come off every 12 hours. I don't even know how often they'd come off in Gorman's office. And then, that kind of thing. These huge blueprint size maps. But it was mesmerizing because you were seeing something that you didn't really see a lot of back then. I mean, they did have satellite. I mean, we just didn't have access to them. So, but now we have access to everything. Most of the stuff I'm showing you, all the stuff I'm showing you is free. Here is this cold air up in Washington, Montana. cold air, freeze warnings, frost advisories up in here. This is the wet stuff. This is Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and parts of the southern Mississippi Valley, Mississippi Valley. And then here is some air quality. I think that's air quality stuff, isn't it? Let's see. Dense fog advisory. Yeah. Okay. That's up in Minnesota. These are the 6 to 10 day outlooks. They start on this. In this case, it starts September 28th, which is 5 days away. So next week through the following week, this next 6 days beyond this week, it looks like it's going to be above average. Again, is it useful for today for the cutoff low? No. But is it cool to go, it's going to be a little warmer than average. Way above average here. And I just do it. I just take it with a grain of salt. Plus, it's a chance for your eyes to relax. Because some of those models, like the first run of all those computer models we did, they're not, it's just like, you kind of looking at it and you're changing elevations, you're changing, positions and stuff, and so it just makes it a little nice to come to something like this and you just go, oh, contours, my brain can absorb this really well. All right, this is what do we got here? Oh, this is earthquakes. Couple aftershocks from the I guess they're calling it the Berkeley earthquake from yesterday, and that was a good. I think they downgraded, ended up at a 4.3. There's still some aftershocks out in Russia. This is the last 24 hours of earthquakes. And again, you see the bulk of them are around the Ring of Fire, which is where we exist, which is probably the most kinetic, it is the most kinetic region in the world for earthquakes. And potentially big ones because you got subduction, megathrust subduction faults. That's where the Pacific plate dives below the continental plate and creates havoc. And that's where we are. So as you look at the last 24 hours, there's another aftershock here in Berkeley, and that was 3.0. That was yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday at 1821. And then this one up in Nevada. What's going on up there? 3.7 northeast of Albany, Nevada. And I guess that was yesterday as well. So nothing big going on. But it's all, the reason I show you that, this is the swell forecast. The reason I show you the earthquakes is it's all connected, right? It's not, weather's not connected to it. We did talk about Aristotle and earthquake weather the other day. If you ever get a chance, look up Meteorologica. That was the book Aristotle wrote, that's where the term meteorology came from, Meteorologica. And it was, he's a Greek, famous Greek, and he wrote a book called Meteorologica, and it was all about everything. So weather got lumped in with stars and the moon, right? Anything in the sky became weather. And so meteorology originally started off with all things, and then it sort of narrowed down to what it is today. This is the forecast model and just progression of seasons. Some big swell up for Alaska. This is Thursday. Nothing too spooky. Yeah, you can pick out easily these tropical storms, right? That's bigger. This is surf we're looking at. This is bigger swell, indicating bigger wind. Bigger swell, indicating bigger wind. And then this is a fetch. This is why, truthfully, why the Pacific is so awesome. Why Mavericks get so big. Why we have such awesome swells here is because that's fetch. That's the distance the water blows across, over 2,000 miles. And you see how the winds are all blowing the same way? That's right. So that's that's over 2,000 miles of ocean fetch. And then you get this wind that can blow over, in this case, it's at least 1,000 miles of wide open ocean. And would be blowing 20, 30 miles an hour consistently. And over the course of time, that builds big surf. So when you don't have a lot of fetch, when you try to get big waves down in here, you don't have a lot of fetch, right? You may get those winds, but it's kind of bumping into islands, right? So the whole thing with surf is wide open, give me some room, get land out of the way, and bring in a lot of ocean to blow across. Fetch, okay? Learned something new today. You already knew about fetch, though. Okay, so that's the ocean looks okay. The models are a little aggressive on bigger swell, but like Ocean Beach right now it looks like it's got maybe a 6 foot on the set. Winds are light. There's no coastal fog out there right now. Temperature at the beach today is going to go about 69 degrees, which is, as you know, unusual, it's fall, right? So we're into fall, and when fall hits, This is when the beach does what it does. In other words, the beach being Ocean Beach, that when it does what it does being, it is becomes surfable and it gets really nice weather. Winter in Ocean Beach, I mean, I remember Ocean Beach, the Great Highway before they shut it down, but all those homes along there, it was kind of a ghetto. It was not, there were some nice homes, but nobody, you could have bought a house down there in 1980 right at the beach. You could have bought one for $80,000. Nobody, the closer you got to the ocean, the less expensive the homes got. That's the only place in the world that happens. The closer you got to the ocean from San Francisco, the less pricey the homes became. Think about that. So, and now, of course, it's nice. But what I'm getting at is, all my friends out there, you know who you are. The winters at Ocean Beach, are you kidding? Makes up for the summer. This is down by Morro Bay. They got a little swell, and a lot of people out. I was noticing. This is the thing with surfing. I could have pulled this picture up 10 years ago. There'd be 2 guys out, 3 guys out, but now there's a lot of people out. Everybody surfs, which is good. It's healthy. It's better than not surfing, but you got to be patient. When you're an old guy who used to have a look at a lot of waves, you kind of have to go. It's a different deal now. I'm not going to get a lot of waves, but I'm out in the ocean and I'm stoked. This is down by, where did I pull this one from? Neptune's Roost. Where is Neptune's Roost? Hosted by, County Line. This is down by Malibu, north of Malibu, north of Point Doom. A little bit of swell there. Mount Shasta. Okay, we did weather, remember? So now we're just doing nature snacks. No subtropical moisture, a little bit of smoke shows up from Oregon, that red in the sky. And the snow's going fast, but interestingly enough, this little bit of snow, that's going to get visited up here at the top of Shasta, over 14,000 feet. There's going to be some snow. It looks like it. Remember that one system we looked at? Remember this guy right here? That's snow on Shasta right there. So that's September 29th, Monday morning. And that's more snow, maybe a little bit. And then this looks like that's an event too. So we've got a fairly interesting pattern coming up, more fall-like, and the potential for some rain. This is Mount Whitney. Subtropical moisture pretty much out of the picture here. Didn't have to show you air quality stuff today. Let's see if we can remove this. Okay, come on, work for me. There it is. And clear skies, good air quality. Yeah, beautiful day. This is fall. I mean, we all say this though, right? Fall in California, fall everywhere. I think fall is always the time of year. Fall's that thing that it's ubiquitous in terms of really nice weather. Okay, these are sea nettles. They grow to those are like hubcap size heads on these things, like I think 3 feet across potentially, and they have those tentacles can be 15 feet long, and they're like 98% water. So I mean, I get it. They're in water and they're pretty translucent, but 98, so only 2% of those things are solid mass, or mass, if you will. The rest of it is water. Sea nettles. And what do they eat? They eat zooplankton. Eat a lot of zooplankton. And then we've got Space Shuttle, or ISS, Space Station. And this is where it is, just coming off the coast of Africa. Or South America, pardon me. Live picture, 4K. So this is also a good one to put up on if you got one of those big screens and you got a 4K TV, throw that bad boy up and just let this International Space Station float you around the world. And it shows you down the corner down there. You can see right where you are, approximately where you are. North Carolina. This is 72 degrees right now in North Carolina. Excuse me. Lake Michigan, they got some, what did we see up there? Did we see smoke up there? Fog. I think we saw fog up in Michigan, yeah. A little bit of fog advisories. And Fort Myers, Florida, 86 degrees. Never been, I've been to Florida. I've flown through it, but I've never really hung out there. Florida's funny. It's funny, right? I know. It's a different world. It's like almost like not part of the country. I mean, it is, but just different thing. Naples Pier, Naples, Florida. Somebody went out for their morning run. Look at you, buddy. Yeah. Although it's not that early out there, is it? I think it's up early, but it's like lunchtime. And then this is a lot of Florida. Let's move on out of Florida. Philadelphia, live picture 75 degrees. That's the library, or is it? I don't know. Philadelphia's pretty. Last one. Okay. Hope you hung in. Dallas, Skyline Cam, not that great, so we'll do one more. Michigan Snowman. We'll do that in the winter, see what it looks like. Okay, you have a great day. Remember that cutoff low. We'll look at it again tomorrow. And you look at it again at your leisure. See you back here.